Hey, I'm Nick.
And we're Disciple.
And you're watching
Bandkind.
For all Bandkind.
One small step.
One
that's what
small
it is.
step
That's
for
what it
Bandkind.
is. Do you know that?
No.
No, I knew that would be
From the moon.
Yes.
Oh, it is. The logo is a moon boot.
Nice.
I'm not kidding.
I love it.
We're
It's
big
great.
moon fans. We love
Yeah.
the moon.
We love the moon.
Yeah. Moon landings.
Hey, I'm Nick, and I'm here on the bus with Disciple.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? We just heard some music, some new mixes, and let's talk about these new mixes really quick. When you guys are, there's so much happening in your music. When you do a new mix, how on earth are you isolating those sounds to figure out which?
It's not easy.
It's
quite a process.
Give me an example of agreeing on.
Well, you're hitting right on the exact place that we're in right now. Because
Okay.
all week we're all on text threads saying,
What
do
about
you
this?
hear this thing right here that should be up louder? Do you hear this
Okay.
thing that needs to be turned down?
Yeah.
And how do we achieve certain things? Because you're right, there's a lot going on, and so kind of the battle is for us to make sure there's clarity so
Yes.
that people, the listener, can hear those things the way they're supposed to, and that we still feel good about the fact that the message is there loudly, the vocals are very present in your face. It's a
Yes.
battle.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want people to hear the song, but in order for us to get it there, we have to be like, the guitar sounds a little plunky when the boinginess from the snare drum is reverberating on the shackling
pitter-patter
sound.
of
There's a
hi-hat.
there's its own language for
Yeah.
talking mix talk. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
it's like the snare
They
drum
make
is
up
too dry. It needs to be,
Yeah.
dipped in goo, and like there's all these
Have a
things.
tail.
People are like, have a tail. Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean? But
Dude,
yeah.
and then he's like, "Do you want me to dip the tail in goo, or you want me to do the?"
Exactly.
And then
right.
we're
How
trying to
much of
explain
it?
these dumb words and what they mean.
And
Yeah.
luckily, our mix engineer, his name is Nick, also, and he's a great,
Good name.
great engineer and a great communicator.
Fantastic.
Wow.
And so it's a really good situation. He mixed our Honor and Glory record that we did last year, 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and we had a great time with that. And so we have a good relationship to where we can bounce things back and forth, and he kind of understands that language that we're speaking, and we've been really happy with it so far.
Yeah, very.
Oh my goodness. Talk about the new single that's coming out in March. We just heard we
Yes.
heard the
Yeah, you heard
master.
it?
Yeah,
we
yeah,
heard the
sure.
master.
Yes.
Yes.
We're the final.
Yeah, the final.
Yeah,
Tell
it's-
me about what it feels like to be putting out that single.
It's called Bad Words. It's probably the heaviest song we've ever done. We joke around, and I don't think anybody's really getting the joke. Whenever we play it for somebody, we're like, "This is the ballad," and then after it's over, they just kind of like are stunned and shocked, and because it's the heaviest song we've ever done.
It's intense.
It is. It's kind of. I was telling Josiah, it's kind of like Long Live the Rebels Chapter 2, because it's really all about taking all of the things that the world looks at as bad and flipping them on their head. Like, the things that the world values, Jesus always just kind of took the opposite direction, and it was just a rebel to everything the world was wanting to do. And that's what Bad Words is it's a song about, to the world's culture and to man's identity. We're just going the opposite way again. What they would say is a bad word is good to us. Their right is left to us. Their up is down to us. Their wrong is right to us. And Jesus being the ultimate bad word, like it's the only word that means everything to me.
Oh my goodness. I have a quick personal story. We went to a Super Bowl Sunday, my family did, and we have 2 boys and a girl, and went to the Super Bowl party. Like, everybody's intense, right? And they got drinks going, whatever. We arrived there, and the guy who owns the home opens the door and says, "Jesus Christ," and shuts the door. And our middle child says, "Daddy, he thinks you're Jesus Christ."
Oh my gosh.
So perfect,
Well,
but yes,
And I thought you might have been leading into the fact that there were these Jesus, like, he gets us ads in the Super Bowl. Did you see those commercials where it was like, he gets us?
Yes, I didn't
Jesus?
see it, but
Okay.
I've heard both
Well,
sides
it's
of
funny
the
'cause
controversy.
On this tour on Winter Jam, they've been showing a big ad for those ads before our set every night, so it's like muscle
Yeah.
memory for me to hear that and be like, time to play.
I just started sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so funny though. But yeah, it's a very frantic song and very We think it's full of surprises.
It is
very
full of
intense.
surprises.
Your husband obviously is walking like the Lord, so
Yes, very Christ-like.
very Christ-like. So much.
He
so
did
that,
have the door slammed in his face.
So much so that people are thinking that he is him. So it's good. It's real good.
The Son of
Good.
Man has
Good
no
for
place to eat his wings.
It's hilarious.
Sorry.
And you're right. There's a lot of dynamics happening, not only in that song, but you guys asked me to pick a favorite, and it was tough because they showcased very different things happening here on the project. And I think 2020, I really like. There's so many special moments in there. Do you intentionally do that, or do you say, okay, I want this section to happen for me. I need this one to happen.
Yeah.
It's the first positive thing about 2020 in 3 years. So.
Yes, amen. That is good.
Yeah.
No.
That is good.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah, the song's called 2020 Blind, and there used to be a band called 2020 Blind, actually, and I've always thought that was a great band name.
Yeah.
But then when we were writing this song, overcoming just some personal things in my life and just having victory, we always write about struggles a lot, as artists and musicians.
Yes.
I wanted to write a song about victory and write a song that, like the first line of the song says, I don't want to hear another line of a sad song.
Yeah.
It's like,
It grabs
let's
you.
go.
Grabs you.
Just
Yeah.
put the pedal down and let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I just want, really wanted that victory conquering fight song and it just has all of that feel, like you need to be on a motorcycle experiencing speeds that are not good for you while you're listening to this song. It just gives you that kind of feeling.
It does.
We love 80s music, and that's what we always like to go for. It's heavy and it's rock and it sounds like Disciple, but
Yes, it does.
It's also fun.
Yeah.
It
Fun,
is.
yeah.
Very fun song.
Andrew WK could do it, and it would be fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when talk about dynamics, it's like it is very intentional. We try to give each song a lot of special moments.
Yeah.
Right now, I think with this album, we talked about how it feels the most like the four of us as a live band because we've played so many shows together now for the past 8, 9, 10 years.
Yeah.
And so that kind of informs the arrangements in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And so when I hear it, like we were saying earlier, it's like I picture us playing, and I think we write parts based on what we would play live now more so than we ever have.
Right.
And so hopefully we're bringing the studio experience even like in the live show even closer together than ever before, I would think.
I love
that.
that.
It's a total rebirth because you started the band in high school and got that with Tim and Brad, and your live show went on to records over and over again. And then us coming in 10 years ago as 3.0, like we're learning the catalog, And so it's at this point now where it's sort of like turned into what we do live now is going on the record. So
I love
it's a
that.
cool place to be.
I love that. So in 1990, it would have been 1994, maybe the end of 1993, I was working Holy Soldier, and I don't know if you remember that band or not. Do you remember them?
I not only remember them, they're tattooed in my brain permanently. Those first
In a good way,
Those
or-
first two albums, yeah.
Really?
In a great way.
Yeah.
Not a good way, a great way.
And
I
I
love those first two
remember
albums.
the guys from Holy Soldier saying, "Did you hear this new Disciple? Did you hear this new Disciple?"
Wow.
And so I was
I
like,
can
no.
die now.
I was like, no, I didn't hear any of it. But anyway, so they like put me on to Disciple at that point. So
That's so cool.
and I don't know what they were looking.
I'm
they
pretty
were
darn
listening
giddy
to
right now. Ooh.
Here's the
Oh,
coolest
that's
thing
so
to me.
cool.
Like we just did the bus VIP up here,
Yeah.
and little Tobias was sitting right there.
Yes.
We have demos older than him.
Yep.
Yes.
He was born after The Executioner was written. And he's up here on our bus VIP, and you're up here on our bus VIP, and you heard about Disciple in 1993 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
So cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course, yeah. And a few years later, Eddie DeGarmo signed Grandma Train, and I worked for them, and they, Pete Stewart said to me, I was worshiping at one of their shows, and he came up to me and he was like, I've never seen anybody worship at our shows. And so I just so love the fact that you guys contain all of that in your DNA, who you are.
Yeah.
And you can worship
Our-
to hard
our
rock
music is-
you can worship to worship music.
I think our music is a worship experience, really.
I do too.
That's kind of how we write it, how we sing it, how we perform it.
Yeah.
We're worshiping, you
Yes.
know. And I think I used to be a worship leader, and one of the things I would say to my team was, you know, we're here to lead in worship, and the only way we can do that is if we do it first. If we try to make people do something that we're not doing, it's never going to happen. So instead of trying to make people do anything, don't make them do anything. You just do it, and they'll follow. And I think that that's what we do. Is we're on stage. We absolutely feed off of the energy of the crowd.
Yeah.
But as far as the passion of what we're saying, we can only say it for ourselves. And so we're singing those songs passionately and worshiping. And when we write them, sometimes we're brutally honest about. We're not necessarily putting on a happy face or a show in some of the lyrics, and I think that honesty kind of comes through. So it's our mistakes and our failures and whatever. And I think that when you go to God that way and that kind of honesty, it's true worship, because you're not being something that you're not. You're coming to Him as your purest and truest self.
Right, and he already sees
and rock and
that.
roll kind of allows you to do that.
Yes.
You know, rock and roll kind of gives you a venue to be a little bit more honest than everybody else. Everybody else is like, you know, I bring my sins before you, and you know, and rock and roll is like, no, I'm a mess. I'm an absolute mess, and I desperately need you. And it gives you a vehicle to say it in a much more passionate way, and we do.
I want to talk about the vehicle of these venues that you've been doing, because I know you're playing in front of people that are maybe encountering Disciple for the first time. And so tell me, you do receive that energy from the crowd. How are you receiving it from a mixed audience? And when I say a mixed audience, I mean like different genres.
Oh, yeah.
Trust me, no, we know.
This is very eclectic.
This is our favorite audience to play in front of, because it's fun to kind of watch their faces.
Yeah.
So like I would say 90% of the people at this show tonight don't know who we are or have never heard us. Definitely never seen us play.
Wow.
And maybe more. So there are people walking up to us after the show and they're like, "Are you guys a new band? I haven't, heard of you guys or whatever." And so it's fun to kind of watch their faces. We come out and we come out blazing, loud, a heavy song, screaming in their face. They're just kind of like, "What just happened? What did you bring me to? I thought this was a Christian concert."
Yes.
And so we just take them on this journey of that, and then we do an honor and glory worship song in the middle of our set, and you can just kind of see everything start shifting, in our set, where we begin to worship, and we start taking them on this worship journey, and by the end it's radical, where we're literally praying these words, not just my mouth, but let my hands, speak the glory of God. And everybody's kind of praying that together. So we're just taking everybody on our journey. So it's fun for us because we love doing our shows where everybody knows who we are, and they love Disciple, and they're coming out, we're all whatever. But we really love when nobody knows who we are, and we go out there and we just kind of take them on a journey, and sometimes win them over by the end of the set.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been the coolest compliment for people to come through the signing line at the end of the night and be like, "I've never heard of you guys before, but I love you." And they dump out a handful of merch they just went and bought.
Yes.
And they've never heard of us, but we impressed them so much and they liked it so much they went and supported us.
It feels good.
And we're getting to shake their hands. And
I love that.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
One of our other favorite things is when someone says, I don't like your style of music, but I really am glad you're here. I've heard that several times
I appreciate what you said, and appreciate what your songs are
love
about.
Your message.
Yeah, I love that compliment.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of older people will say that, and they'll say, I know that I could see young people being really touched by what you were doing, so I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, I don't like your music at all.
However.
But I'm really glad you're doing it. It's like, thank you. That's such a nice thing to say, really.
She said she saw kids experiencing our show and didn't like our style, but she was watching other people connect, like young people, I guess, or somebody.
Yeah.
And somebody else in the crowd, and I was like, oh, I get it, which is the experience that you had growing up with.
My mom,
not
my mom did not like Christian rock and Petra and whatever, and I took her to a Petra show. and she
did?
saw, yeah, or she took me, however you want to say it.
Yeah,
she drove, I think.
Hop on the bike, Mom.
Yeah.
Don't ask any questions.
I just got pigs.
And I remember a whole bunch of people coming forward and giving their life to Christ that night, and she kind of leaned over and said, I get it now, you know. So.
And what does she think now after decades?
Our biggest supporter, really.
Wow.
But yeah, when my youth pastor introduced Christian rock music to me as a 11 or 12-year-old kid,
yeah.
She was extremely unhappy about it. You know,
Yeah.
Jimmy Swaggart was writing books like Devils and
Yeah.
Wolves in Sheep Clothing, you know, whatever.
Yep.
And so, you know, there was a big, strong movement against Christian rock at the time because I'm older. Thank you.
No.
And
I'm older than you.
no, you're not. Anyway,
I am.
let's not talk about it. Anyway, so yeah, so it was a struggle, but it's one of those things you kind of have to experience for yourself. And I appreciate parents who are like cautious because that just means they care about their kids.
Yeah.
Amen.
So somebody comes up and says, "Yeah, I don't know about you," and I'm like, "Good. I'm glad, you know.
Do your research.
Come hang out with us,
Yeah,
and then
that's
come hang out with us and watch a show, and then make your own decision."
Amen.
You know.
Well, I love that you guys always invest in like the VIP experience, and thank you for allowing me to be here today and enjoy that and see your fans actually interacting with you. It was so great, and we're gonna see fans interacting with them tonight on the stage. So keep it here. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Woo!